the thoughts that have just been, themes that have been coming up for me has been urgency, the need to respond, the need to be productive, the need to be busy. And obviously I'm an executive assistant. I've been that for the last 15 years, and I'm just a highly productive person in general. And of late, I always keep saying post-recovery because I just feel like everything is that here on out, right? I've really been challenging myself, naturally, asking myself, well, why? Why do you need to do that? Or why are you doing that, right? It started with my workout regimen, I would go Monday through Monday, I had a very strict routine, everything was very strict. And that was, I was getting into that prior to my diagnosis, and then my diagnosis, I clung to that even more. I feel like that gave me purpose, dedication. I mean, I have purpose and I have dedication, but something about having the guidelines, it made me, I guess I needed a checklist, right? Did this, success. And that worked, that helped. But lately it's been feeling like a cage. So I had a really great chat with my coach. We're taking a break, and it wasn't anything bad, and she actually got it right. Where I still do the movements, but some days, I was feeling an insane amount of pressure to do the exact programming and fit it in an exact time, and then to rush home to eat breakfast. And then I was like, I'm feeling like I'm on this loop. And I was like, I don't want to be on a loop. Like, why am I doing this to myself? So I was like, you know what? You're going to go to the gym. You're going to set the amount of time that you're there, because you can't be there all day, unless it's a Saturday or Sunday and that's what you want to do with your time. And you're just going to do and listen to what your body needs and feels. And then that's how I recently gotten really strongly into reformer Pilates, because I was just feeling like I needed to lengthen more and re-strengthen my core, because the radiation on this side, I felt like had done something to my muscle, my mass, and my ability to engage here. And the reformer Pilates has really helped me find that again, and helped me realign and just really work deeply, where the weightlifting is super helpful in other ways. So it's this ebb and flow of what do I need today, and what do I have available to me, and doing those things. But the release of the coaching really allowed me to rest when I needed to rest, and I didn't feel the pressure to just do it because I had to do it. And ironically, my body has been responding in an insane way. I'm leaner, I'm stronger, inflammation has gone down, and I think it's because I'm not stressing myself out, right? I don't think that the weightlifting and any of that was doing that to me, but I think the internal sense of urgency, the internal sense to check the fucking list was creating that, And as I move through and into this new volume, this new season, this new book, it's not even a new chapter, that is gone, and we're onto a new volume. I really want to, when I wake up in the morning, if I want to sit and rest, I sit and rest. I don't rush out of the bed and swing my feet over and run, right? And I've noticed that when I'm doing that, I'm not really present, because I'm too busy trying to get through the door, get through the list, to be productive. And then it brought on the question of what is productive then? Just because I've done more than most people will accomplish in a week, in a day, or in, from 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., what does that actually truly mean? What does that say about me? What does that equate to? Essentially equates to really nothing, right? It equates to, that's what I did. And then I had to say, okay, well, how does that make you feel? Feel accomplished, okay? But then I was starting to feel tired and, burnt out. And it's well, I'm doing this to myself, I'm cutting off sleep to run out the door to do X, Y, and Z. When some days now I because in practice I'm realizing, wow, that extra hour or 2 hours of sleep really benefited me, you know, and I'll just go to the gym later, or, you know, I just don't go that day and like I do something, you know, different, you know, do an extra walk, or I'll add a reformer Pilates class at 7 p.m. because, you know, it's not my 2 hours, but it's 50 minutes. And if I'm really focused, that 50 minutes is far more beneficial to me, my mind, my body, my soul, than a rushed, stressful 2 hours at the gym would be. So it's just this amazing sense of like coming back to myself and slowing down, right? And really questioning, do I have to do it? I know, and I can remember, I know where this came from. I remember, so I used to be a musical theater performer, touring all over the country. I worked for Tiger Management as a temp, and I remember there was a day where I was supporting, you know, whoever I was supporting, and I was just temping at this point. I was not, you know, an employee by any means, aside from getting a check in that way. And I remember working, and I remember going to the bathroom, and this female followed me, and she continued to talk about the work. And I was like, oh, okay. And mind you, at this point, email was just at the office. Like, there were Blackberries, but the culture wasn't respond. You would just see your email when you got to the office. So if you wanted to get ahead of things, you get to the office super early to get through the inbox. You didn't read your email, you know, surprise, like 24 hours a day. No one was expecting to reach you. And if they wanted to reach you, they'd call you, right? So this is like Blackberry days. This is like 2006, 2007, you know, so you weren't really online. You were just living. Like, it was amazing. I remember being a kid. You went out when the sun was up, you got in when the sun was going down, and that was your day. Your parents could find you by where your bikes, you know, were parked or calling around. So I remember this loop, and I'm like, we're literally in the bathroom peeing, and she's talking to me about this project that we're working on, and like, it doesn't stop. And I'm like, this is odd, you know? And I feel like that was the moment a seed was planted of this loop of like working and responding, like, oh wow, this is great. I can go to the bathroom and still get something done. So then that compiled, and then society starts compiling where we, you know, have VPN, so you can now log in, you know, they give you a laptop to take home. So now you can work on the weekends and do things, you know, at all hours, which at times you're like, oh, this is great. Like, I can get all this work done and then like have a slow Friday. But then that starts to compile to where you're working all the time, doing things all the time. Fast forward to 2025, where everyone has a laptop. Everyone has 2 and 5, you know, 2, 3, 5 phones. Okay, mostly 2. You know, I have 1. I used to have 2, and it's like, this is too much. And we're constantly being barraged by notifications, be it you just made a purchase, the company wants a survey to know how it went. You know, you check into a hotel, you get a barrage of that. You start a new job, you get a barrage of emails. You know, your family's emailing you, your job's emailing you, like everyone's emailing you. Then on top of that, you have WhatsApp. On top of that, you have iMessages. You know, on top of that, you have everything that you want to do, you know. So it's just this constant stream of everything coming in, you know. And for work, for me, I look at my inbox like tennis. The moment I get something, I want it out. Like, I don't want it, not my problem. Not in that way, like I'm solving it, but like I don't want it sitting there. And that in turn turns into the dog and the bell, right? You hear a ding, you hear a notification, you pick it up, boom, back to where you are. But you're not really back to where you are, because you broke the presence that was happening, that what, you know, is happening, you know, to address something that may or may not be important, but most likely it's not important, right? Because if it's important, most people are going to call. You know, there's like a chain of, you know, importance. If something's urgent, most people call. Most people don't send an email because, like, someone may or may not see it. They may be doing something, right? Their phone may be, you know, face down. So, you know, it's just the society and, you know, the expectation, the unspoken expectation of responding, you know. And so lately I've just really been like, I need to slow down. I don't want to go back and get sucked into this, gotta respond, gotta respond, gotta respond. It's too much. It's just too much. And we're not made for that, We're made to, flow and be in presence. So, it's hard for me because, years of just being driven by the bell and responding, it's hard to know that, I know for a fact there's 3 emails sitting in my inbox right now, psycho me, and that's my work inbox, and my personal inbox has 13 unread emails. And, most of them are to-dos, like I'll email myself reminders so I don't forget, and they just stay unread until I do it. And my work inbox is the same thing. If it's actioned, it's filed away, and otherwise my inbox is just my active, what's open, to-do list. And then the 3 unread, I did scan them, and I was like, this morning, they're not important. I can get to them by a certain time. And so that's what I'm learning to do, right, is to look at something and decide I'm not going to act on this right now, because otherwise I'm just living a life of reactiveness, responding, and other people, outside forces, are dictating when I'm doing that. So I'm like, I'm going to have my workout. I'm not going to look at my phone. I don't even record myself in the gym anymore because it was turning into, oh, now I'm on my phone. Why? Just be at the gym. Just be at the gym, right? And if I decide one day that I need to be an influencer and people need to see me work out, then maybe I'll just have an hour where I go to the gym and just film, and I'm not really there to work out, which I wish more people would do. So it's just really this coming back to myself and questioning, why do I do what I do? And just because I've done what I've done, is it benefiting me in this moment right now? And is it how I want to move forward? I don't want to be rushed. I want to be present. I don't want to be constantly like this, right? I want to be up. I want to be looking up and out. I want to be connecting with the people that I'm with in the moment, there, not just concerned about something because most of this doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. The 3 work emails I have don't really matter. Obviously, I will do them, and they do matter to some extent, but if I got hit by a bus or, died, it doesn't fucking matter. So, I'm not going to sacrifice, my current now for something that just in the grand scheme of things is just insignificant, And again, I'm not saying to not do your job and to be, irresponsible about it, but it's just it's not even 8 o'clock yet. So I'm entitled to my time, right? And if I say, starting at 9 a.m., between 9 and 5, that's when I'm going to be responsive and online. And then after that, I will look in blocks, So I do look, about 2 hours before bed, I take a look. If there's anything that I feel that I want to address now, I do. And if not, I say, what? By this time I will, or in 24 hours I will. And at the end of the day, where I am now in my life, no one is expecting me to respond immediately. Previous jobs in the past, yes, no matter what I was doing, they were expecting that the moment they sent something, I was to respond. And those environments are never going to be for me again. They weren't for me then, but I just didn't know that. I didn't realize what I was participating in as a whole, not them specifically, just as a whole. So I really challenge you, in your life to slow down and to really question why you do what you do, why you choose what you choose, and if you can choose differently, and if you want to choose differently, what does that make life look and feel for you? Chat soon.